Hello and welcome in this video of development. In this video we are going to understand the first chapter of economics CBSE board. In this video we are going to understand about the meaning of the development, that is the first chapter of your economics book. So let's understand the meaning of the development. Actually the development is directly related with the desire to improve. The development means the improvement of the quality of life and increase of the economic income. Now the development of one person may not be the development of the another. Whenever we are using the word development, we have to understand whose development, who is going to develop with this idea. Because the development of one person may not be the development of the another. In society, the different standard of the people reside. Now, if we talk about the landless worker, he will tell that according to me the development means the increase of my wages. If I ask the meaning of development to a rich young person, he will tell that the development means the improvement of the infrastructure of the country, the establishment of the shopping malls, the roads, the metro network increment is the meaning of the development. So everybody has their own definition regarding the meaning of the development. If we ask any urban girl, he will tell that according to me the development means the freedom compared to the to my younger brother. So every section of the people have their own meaning of the development. But one thing is clear, that the development means the increase of the standard of life. Because whenever anybody is developing, his standard of life will also increase, his income will also increase. So income and the quality of life and income, these two are directly related to the development. I hope it is clear for everyone. So same thing here, whatever I have discussed. A landless rural laborer means he will think that the development means the more days of work, the better wages. The prosperous farmer, any prosperous farmer will answer the meaning of development as the reduction of the prices of the petroleum, reduction of the prices of seeds, fertilizers and the pesticides, increase of the minimum support price. So he will define, any farmer will define the meaning of the development in his own way. Now any urban girl, a girl from an urban family will also define the development in her own way. She wants more freedom compared to the brother. So what I mean to say is that the development is a very broad concept. It has different development goals. So whatever may be the development of one may not be the development of the another. It may be even destructive for the another. I hope that this concept is clear for everyone. Now, recently I have said that the development of one may not be the development of the another. For example, we can take the construction of Sardar Sarovar Dam. Actually, Sardar Sarovar Dam was built on Narmada River. Everybody knows that the Narmada River is a west-flowing river. It emerges from the Amarkantak and it flows towards the Arabian Sea. So the Narmada, on the Narmada River, the Sardar Sarovar Dam was constructed to meet the need of the electricity. For the electricity generation, the Sardar Sarovar Dam was constructed, and also for the irrigation. But on the construction of the Sardar Sarovar Dam, the tribal people were protesting, and particularly the tribal people of Madhya Pradesh were protesting, because to create the Sardar Sarovar Dam we have to build a reservoir, and the making of the reservoir will remove large number of the population. For the construction of the reservoir we need a large area, and if on that area if anybody is residing, he has to relocate, and that is why the people who were being relocated because of the construction of the Sardar Sarovar Dam, they were revolting, they were protesting. So the development of one person may be destruction for the another, because we need electricity for the building of our infrastructure. So if we try to understand the location of the Sardar Sarovar Dam, it is located on the Narmada River. It will directly meet the energy requirement of Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Now income is directly related to the development. Recently we have discussed that we can call any country as a developed country on the basis of the income it is earning. We often tell that the European country, America and Britain are more developed, they are more advanced. So on what basis we can categorize anybody as more developed and underdeveloped? On the basis of the income. The per capita income in the European country is very high compared to India, and that is why India is called a poor country and European countries are called the rich country. So income is a most important attribute of development for comparing different countries of the world. Now, along with the income, the economic development and the better quality of life is directly related to the income, because any country is earning higher, is getting higher income, his economic development will happen, as well as his standard of life will also increase. So these are the two main attributes of the development or the income. Now, how to compare different countries or different states? We can compare different countries on the basis of two criteria or one criteria, that is called the average income and the per capita income. Why I said one? Because average income and the per capita income mean the same thing. Average income, how can we calculate the average income? We can calculate average income by our national income. Now, what is national income? National income means the earning of the whole country. The whole country earning is called the national income. If the earning of the whole country is divided by the total population, the average income will come. And the per capita income is the earning done by every individual of the country. So average income and the per capita income mean the same thing. So how to calculate the average income or the per capita income? We have to divide the national income by the total population of the country. So I hope it is clear for everyone. Now, average income or the per capita income. This is the definition. If a question arises, what is average income or what is per capita income? This question has frequently appeared in the board examination. So same thing you have to write. Average income is the total income of the country divided by its total population. The average income is also called the per capita income. Now, who compares on the basis of the average income among different countries of the world? It is World Bank. The World Bank makes classification on the basis of the income of the country, and it compares the economy of different countries of the world on the basis of the average income. So the World Bank uses per capita income to classify different countries of the world. So I hope that this concept is clear for everyone. Let's move to our next term. So this is the picture of the World Bank. The headquarters of the World Bank is located in United States of America. It is in the Washington DC. So this is the picture of the World Bank. So what is the function of the World Bank? It mainly provides loan for different countries of the world. If a country is facing any financial problem, it may ask for loan from the World Bank. The headquarters of the World Bank is in Washington DC in America. So it is mainly responsible for giving loan to different countries. It also compares between different countries of the world on the basis of the per capita income. That means the income earned by every people or on the basis of the national income or average income. On the basis of that, it also provides guidelines for different countries of the world to improve their economy. So this is the main function of the World Bank, to provide loan to different countries. So let's move to the next one. Now, the comparing the national income. Now, what is national income? As I have recently said, that the national income means the income earned by the people of the country. The income earned by the whole people of the country is called the national income. So if we try to compare in this table 1.2, there are two countries, country A and the country B. These are the people. These are the people. There are total 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the two countries are there, country A and the country B. So how much people are earning? The person 1 is earning 9,500 in country A. The second person is earning 10,500. The third person is earning 9,800. Fourth person 10,000 and the fifth person 10,200. So you know the meaning of the average. So you can calculate how much average, what is the average income of country A. So if we do the plus, we have to add all these incomes, the income earned by all the people, and what will be the answer after adding it? 50,000. You can calculate it. It is 50,000. That means the 50,000. So divided by 5, it will become total 10,000. So 10,000 is the average income of country A. 10,000 is the average income of country A. And if we talk about country B, you can add all these incomes, 500, 500, 500, 500 and 48,000. So if we add all these three, it will also be 50,000 divided by 5, it will be 10,000. So the average income of the two countries is 10,000. But which country is more suitable to reside? Which country is the economy of which country is more fair? The economy of which country will look good? Economy of the country A is much better because there is equal distribution of money. But if we talk about the country B, equal distribution of money is not there. Unequal distribution. The difference between the rich people and the poor people is very high. So the difference between rich people, the gap between the rich people and the poor people is very high. These 4 people are earning only 500 rupees and this 5th people is earning 48,000 rupees. So this is called the gap. It ignores whenever the World Bank compare the countries on the basis of the national income or per capita income, it is ignored. That means the gap between the rich people and the poor people is ignored for comparison of different countries on the basis of the national income. So if a country will be called good or fair only if there is equal distribution of money. So the national income or the per capita income will not give us the true picture. So it is a limitation of the per capita income or the national income. I hope it is clear for everyone. Now for comparing the national income, this is the condition of country A and this is the condition of country B. The country B, share can be treated as a money. Here majority of the share or the majority of the money is kept in the hand of single person, 48,000, and all these 4 people are earning only 500 rupees. So the gap between the rich and poor is very high, and in country A everybody is getting approx equal amount of the money, so they are happy, but they are unhappy. So the country A is much better than country B, because there is equal distribution of money in A, but there is unequal distribution of money in country B. So country A is much better than the country B. I hope it is clear for everyone. I just said the limitation of the national income or the per capita income or average income. So let's move to the next one. So the per capita income, in this table we are going to understand about the per capita income of different states. The Punjab is a higher one, after that Kerala, and the last one is the Bihar. Bihar is called a very poor state, but but don't get hurt. But the per capita income of Bihar is very less, according to this chart. Now, limitations of the per capita income. Recently, we have discussed that in the per capita income, the equal distribution of money is ignored. But apart from that, there are certain other conditions, other factors, which are the literacy rate, the infant mortality rate, the health care, how much people are healthy. It is also ignored in comparison between different countries on the basis of the per capita income. So literacy rate, how much people are literate over there, over that country. It may also happen that the per capita income of the country is higher, but the poor are illiterate. The mortality rate is also very high. The health care is not good. So these are the another limitations of the per capita income or the average income. Now, information about the unequal distribution of income is also not mentioned in the World Bank report. So the World Bank also ignores the unequal distribution of income recently, which we have discussed just now. So the World Bank don't recognize the unequal distribution. It only recognizes the income earned by the nation as a whole. So the third one is the economy of the country cannot determine the level of the country. Only the economy, it means the it don't take into account the health of the people, the literacy rate of the people. So only in economy is rising, but the people are poor. It may also happen, which was seen in the country B. The country B, only one person is rich and the rest of the persons are poor. So it will not give us the true picture about the economy of the country. So I hope that the limitation of the per capita income is clear to everyone. So let's move to our next topic. Infant mortality rate. Recently we have discussed what is the meaning of the infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate means the people, how many children are dying before completing their 1 year. Before completing 1 year, how many children are dying, comparison to 1000. So compared to among the 1000 children, how many people are dying before, how many children are dying before completing their 1 year of the age. So in a state or in a country, the infant mortality rate should be lower as possible. If the infant mortality rate in a state is lower, it is much better, or it is 0, then it is much more better. Now I hope it is clear. So let's move to our next term. Now, literacy rate. What is the meaning of the literacy rate? It means how many people are educated above 7 years of the age. Up to the 7 years of the age, children up to the 7 years of the age is not included into the literacy rate, because they can't write anything. The children up to the age of 7 are not included into the literacy rate. But the literacy rate means the children who are above 7 years of the age, because up to the 7 years of the age, the children may not have the ability to read and write. So the literacy rate mainly considers the people who are above 7 years of the age and they don't have the ability to read or write. So if the literacy rate is higher, then the state or the country is called educated. So Kerala is a state where the literacy rate is 100%. Kerala is a state in which the literacy rate is 100%. On the other side, the Jharkhand or Bihar is called the most uneducated people. The literacy rate is very lower in Jharkhand or Madhya Pradesh or Kerala. Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh or Bihar. Net attendance ratio. What is the meaning of this? So the net attendance ratio is the sum total of the number of children of the group 6 to 10 attending the school as a percentage of the total number of the children of the same age group. It means that up to the age group of 6 and 10, how many people are attending the schools compared to the total age group of the children of that area. So among the age group of 6 to 10, how many people are attending the school and how many people are not attending, how many are the total number of the people of the total number of the children up to the age of 6 to 10, and among that group how many children are actually attending the school. So it is a kind of a ratio of the whole children it is a ratio of the whole children versus the children attending the school. So it is a ratio of the whole children and the children attending the school. The ratio should be higher. If the ratio is higher, that means many students are attending the school or many children are attending the school. So that will be called the net attendance ratio. I hope it is clear for everyone. So the ratio between the whole children up to the age of 6 to 10 and the children attending the school of the same age group is called the net attendance ratio. So now we will compare on the basis of the three things, because recently we have studied the meaning of the infant mortality rate, the literacy rate and the net attendance ratio. So here we will compare between three states, that is the Punjab, the Kerala and the Bihar. We are discussing table number 1.4. So we are comparing the three different countries on the basis of the infant mortality rate, on the basis of literacy rate and on the basis of the net attendance ratio. So if we try to do the comparison between the three states on the basis of the infant mortality rate, the infant mortality rate, I said that it should be lower. If the infant mortality rate is lower, it is much better. That means the people are getting the medical facilities. So in Punjab, the infant mortality rate is 49. It is average. In Kerala, it is 11, and in Bihar, it is 60. So Bihar is lagging behind. Bihar is lagging behind in the area of infant mortality rate. The Kerala, the number of the Kerala is much better, because few children are there who are dying before completing their 1 year. Now literacy rate. Let's understand the literacy rate. Literacy rate should always be higher. So in Punjab it is 70, it is medium. In Kerala it is 91, it is much more better. In Bihar it is just 47. So Bihar is again lagging behind in the literacy rate. In the literacy rate, the Kerala is much better. It is the statistics of 2001. Now there is 100% in Kerala, according to the latest data. So if we talk about the net attendance ratio, that how many children are attending the school of 1 to 5 among the whole children of the same age group. So Punjab it is 81, it is also good, it is in the medium. In the Kerala it is 91, it is much better, and in Bihar it is just 41. It is just 41. So it should be higher. This infant mortality rate should be as lower as possible, and these two should be as higher as possible. So here we can tell that Bihar is lagging behind again among these states on the basis of the infant mortality rate, literacy rate, and the net attendance ratio. So Bihar is again lagging behind. So I hope it is clear for everyone.